Let us pray. Greater God, on this day of celebration, we give thanks for those who have inspired us and enriched our learning, and for families who have supported us and encouraged us to achieve our goals. Bless all our graduates as they journey forth from here. May they use their newfound skills of communication to capture the imagination of others and guide them on the path of discovery and learning. May they use their gifts of compassion and understanding to work for the common good of every community. And may they use their newfound wisdom to push back the frontiers of science in seeking to address the needs of the world, bringing health and healing wherever it is needed most. Bless all our graduates. May they find great happiness in all that they do, and may the world be enriched by their generous giving in the service of others. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Please be seated. Are you okay? I call upon the Principal to address this assembly.
Chancellor, Deputy Lord Provost, graduands, honorary graduands, friends and colleagues of the University, it is my great pleasure to welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Graduation ceremonies are the highlight of the academic year and the most important events in our calendar. So let me start by saying to you, our graduands, well done for all of the hard work, perseverance, and I'm sure for many, if not most of you, some late nights that got you here. Gaining a degree from one of the UK's top university is no mean feat, and the knowledge and capability you've developed during your time at Dundee will ensure that you succeed as you take your next steps in your life and career. And to family and friends who are here today, can I also, on behalf of our graduates, thank you for the support and encouragement you've given to our students over the years. You've played a crucial role in their achievements. And can I now ask our graduates to give your family and friends a round of applause to say thank you. I'd like to thank our current rector, Mark Beaumont, who will finish his term at the end of next month. Mark has been a great advocate of student causes at Dundee. In particular, he's helped take forward the student entrepreneurship agenda, which culminated in him opening our Centre of Entrepreneurship on campus last year. However, Mark doesn't escape that lightly, and I'm delighted to announce that he is to become the Centre's inaugural entrepreneurial champion, an ambassadorial role for the university to promote our work in enterprise and entrepreneurship. So on behalf of today's graduates, and indeed all of our community, thank you, Mark, for your service over the last few years. We look forward to continuing to work with you in the future. So this year's cohort of graduates are the first I've seen passing through the university, having started in January, and I hope will be the first of many very successful and joyful celebrations of your success. I am excited for what the future holds for you, and I'm confident you will grasp it enthusiastically, purposefully, and successfully. And you're graduating from the university at a time when we've just been named top university in Scotland in the prestigious Herald Higher Education Awards. We've also been ranked 20th in the world in the inaugural University Impact Rankings, which is the only table of university rankings that assesses the contribution and impact that universities make against the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which is an increasingly important and central part to all of our lives. And our quality can be seen in many different ways. So, for example, in terms of teaching, we have been awarded the gold status in the Teaching Excellence Framework, which is the highest possible rating by the UK government. And that's thanks to the hard work of our staff and also your engagement as our students through your time of study with us. I'd particularly like to mention at this point Professor Teresa Moran from the School of Education and Social Work, who's been awarded the Chancellor's Medal Award for outstanding contributions to teaching in recognition of her dedication, hard work and commitment, and more of Teresa a little bit later in the ceremony. We also undertake research that not only is world-class, it's changing the world around us. So within the School of Life Sciences, for example, there's well-developed work aimed at curing malaria and also looking at breakthroughs in understanding major diseases such as Parkinson's. In the School of Education and Social Work, research has transformed trauma recovery for children in situations of ongoing violence and has informed national practice and policy in respect to the protection and support of vulnerable adults. And you also, I hope, have experienced what has consistently been ranked as one of the best student experiences in the UK in the National Student Survey. And this year, we were top 10 in the world in the International Student Barometer for international student experience. And now, as you're thinking about your next steps in your lives and careers, another area that's of particular importance are your future career prospects. And we are amongst the top in Scotland and indeed in the UK for graduate outcomes and career opportunities. So the future is looking pretty bright for you. And this is all happening in a city of Dundee that is growing in reputation all the time. This year, and we know this for those of us who live, work and study here, and it comes as no surprise, but perhaps to people who don't know Dundee as well as we do, came as a little bit of a surprise. This year, Dundee was named the best place to live in Scotland, and it's been described as Scotland's Renaissance city. That reputation has been boosted by the opening of the V&A Dundee last September, and we are very proud of that because the idea was originated within the university, and we've worked with the V&A team right from inception to enable its development and the opening of such an impressive building on Dundee's waterfront. Dundee's also the only UK UNESCO City of Design, and at its innovative heart you can see many examples of this, from Captain Scott's ship, the Discovery, through to modern day work in design and discovery in our drug discovery units in the School of Life Sciences. And this is in a broader context of the rich cultural offering that Dundee offers. We have Dundee Contemporary Arts, Dundee Rep, museums such as the McManus and Verdant Works, and it's further complemented by one of the greatest celebrations in Scotland of young creative talent, which is of course the School of Art and Design's degree show for arts and design and architecture. And this year, nearly 17,000 people visited Dundee to attend or go to the degree show. And that spillover effect into Creative Dundee can be seen in independent studios and gaming companies across the city which attract talent to Dundee. Over recent months, the region has been awarded the Tay Cities deal, which is a £350 million investment from the Scottish and UK governments, which will support many major investment projects and create more than 6,000 jobs. This has been particularly positive for us as a university, and I would like to say at this point that the innovation and drive exhibited by University of Dundee staff, such as Professor Mike Ferguson from the School of Life Sciences, has been crucial in securing this investment to come to develop a new innovation hub in biomedical sciences at the university and an innovation hub for digital forensic sciences with the Leverhulme Centre for Forensic Research. So the university is at the heart of Dundee, and we have a permeable boundary between the city and the campus. Our rising profile has helped to accelerate the city's rising profile has already helped to accelerate our rising profile, and that positions you very well for your futures as graduates from this university. And although the city has helped to shape us and is a key part of who we are, there are things that we do as a university ourselves that are unique to Dundee. We do many things to change people's lives locally and globally, and that in many ways is the university's common purpose. So, for example, we educate over 15,000 students every year to provide them with the skills, capability and knowledge required in economies across the world. In Scotland alone, we support more than 8,000 jobs, and we contribute over £750 million to the Scottish economy. But universities shouldn't be defined just by their economic utility. We should also be seen as areas for research, creativity, discovery and exploration. And we do this in many ways. So to give you two examples, the university is a leader in Scotland in terms of access to higher education. We believe that people should come to university because of talent and ability and not because of their background. And as a university, we've increased the number of students we welcome from deprived areas more than any other university in Scotland over recent years. We're also pioneering new forms of higher education. We're working closely with businesses to provide the highest number of graduate apprenticeships in Scotland, and this opens up access to people who want to go straight from school or college to work and also continue to study for a degree. And finally, as I've said, we do this through research, but this isn't research for the sake of research, it's research to solve global problems and change and improve lives. I'd like at this point to mention this year's Wimbley Award winner, Rachel Nathanson, graduating with a first-class degree in social work today. She's a great example of many of the values that the university embodies. During her time here, Rachel was one of the founding members of the Dundee student branch of the Social Work Action Network, SWAN, an international activist network of social work practitioners, academics, service users and students committed to furthering social justice. Rachel has been involved in giving talks to classes and attending national meetings with social work organisations and members of Parliament. In 2016, she travelled with fellow students to the refugee camp in Calais known as the Jungle. The students made a film on their thoughts of the experience called A Very Human Crisis, which generated a great deal of social media attention. So thank you, Rachel, and your fellow students for your outstanding efforts during your time with us. And today, as are now our students, but as you cross the stage, you will move in a key threshold in your lives from being a student to being a graduate of the university. I hope and I believe that your time here has transformed you in three uniquely Dundee ways. Firstly, by giving you a share in our sense of purpose to transform lives locally and globally. Secondly, by giving you the skills, knowledge and capability to be able to do so. And thirdly, by making you part of a lifetime community that will support and encouraging you to believe and ensure that you make an impact. So thank you to you, our students, for the contribution you've made to our community through your participation in day-to-day life on campus and for making your student experience one of the best in the UK. Thank you for the challenge and stimulation you have given the staff who taught you. And thank you for applying your knowledge and capabilities to enable us all to continue to change lives. For some of you, this may be your last few days at the university, and for others it may be a continuation of time with us to study. Whichever it might be, we support the work you do, we believe in you, and will continue to engage with you through the networks of alumni that we've created across the world, and through our belief in your ability to make a real impact. So please tell the world about your time here, and wherever you go in the future, and whatever you achieve, please remember you will always remain part of the University of Dundee family. Congratulations and very well done on your big day.
Thank you, Principal. We now move to the conferment of degrees, and I call upon the Dean of the School of Education and Social Work, Professor Tim Kelly.
Thank you, Chancellor. And I have the honor to present for the degree Bachelor of Arts with Honor, Carrie Anderson. Samantha Backhouse. Ewan Connolly. Samantha Craig. Naomi Krola. Katie Dixon. Stephanie Heary. Emma Howard. Jody Kemlow. Amy Victoria Lang. Simone Lang. Alistair Lech. Samantha McCash. Holly McKenna. Kelsey McClellan. Mary Jane McLeod. Sheila Nicholson. Megan Reed. Jenna Riley. Alice Ritchie. Nicole Wilkie. Tom Adamson. Anisa Ali. Fariha Ali. Brad Archer. Connie Ballack. Rebecca Beck. Robin Bovel. Lewis Cameron. Shayna Campbell. Sonia Crooks. Taylor Flynn. Bethany Gibson. Fiona Herd. Lindsay Kilgour. Nicole Mara. Daniel MacArthur. Louise McEwen. Audrey Mitchell. James Moore. Hannah Munsey. Rachel Nathanson. Debbie Palfrey. Lisa Penman. Zaina Sarwar. Emily Stewart. Sophie Stewart. Helene Thompson. And Taylor Thompson. Clara Trevis. And for the degree Bachelor of Arts, Adele Bolton. Emma Johnston, Carla Montgomery, Kathleen Mullen, Ricky Williamson, Candace Aiken, Fiona Anderson, Jacqueline Anderson, Jennifer Beatty, Lauren Cadden, Melanie Campbell, Allison Cowan, Karen Dugers, Kirsty Finley, Lynn Howie, Kate Hutchin, Janice Irons, Elsa Jones, Leanne McKelvey, Chris Mulder, Lucy O'Connor, Ashley Oldham, Lauren Pittock, Tracy Sloan, Janet White, Stephanie Whitwell, Julia Young, Sarah Fuller, James Whiteley, Liam Conlon, Nicola Flynn, Claire Gardner, Nigel Kelly, Paul Rowland, Paolo Rupolo, Ian Beggs, and George McGuire. And for the degree Master of Arts with Honors, Catherine Alexander. Jonathan Bell. Rachel Bills. Rebecca Barrow. Karis Boyle. Amy Burnett. Emily Christensen. Laura Clark. Chloe Connor. Lisa Cowie. Alice Dale. Layla Dawson. Corey Donaldson. Lauren Duncan. Mandy Everett, Fiona Ewing, Sean Finnegan, Polly Ford, Ailey Fretwell, Chloe G, Hannah Gibson, Kirsty Grant, Lucy Gray, Max Hatton, Zulika Ishmael, Kirsten Johnson, Sarah Kerr, Emma Kilpatrick, Amy Lorimer, Rebecca McDonald, Rachel McKenzie, Elsa Mackey, Kaylin McAteer, Robbie McGahey, Alana McDonald, Paulette McEwen, Erin McGlynn, Shannon McGuckin, Matthew McKenzie, Sean McKinnon, Leah Mortimer, John Muir, Rebecca Muir, Jessica Murray, Rory O'Donnell, Melissa Paxton, Anna Paulson, Hope Ramage, Megan Shearer, Hannah Smith, Katie Smith, Hannah Stillwell, Amy Turner, Sally Walker, Hannah Wilson, Kimberly Young, for the postgraduate certificate in headship, Catherine Dalrymple. And for the postgraduate certificate in education, Jonathan McGowan. Gary Phillips, Blair Smith, Amanda Aiken, Sonia de Rocha Pereira Moniz, Deborah McCartney, George McConaughey, David McCormick, Lorna McIver, Pamela Porter, Fiona Wallace, and for the Postgraduate Diploma in Community Learning and Development, Adele Donald, Roy Sheen Irvin, for the Postgraduate Diploma in Primary Education, Louise Bell. Robin Clenahan. Lynn Harrison. Joanne Loban. Imogen Logan. Alexander Moore. Nicola Traynor. And for the Master of Education, Samara Hamid. Joanna Pringle. Timothy Brosnan. Beverly Brown. Eileen Gibson. Sarah Menzies. Joseph Mulholland. Samantha Todd. And for the Master of Science, Faye Brown. Carrie Coates. Sharon Sweeney. And for a Doctor of Education, Mary Knight. Doctor of Philosophy, Tonka Dahl. Anna Robb. And for Doctor of Social Work, Mikko Oveskainen. For the Postgraduate Certificate and Academic Practice in Higher Education, Nathaniel Babajide. And John McDermott.
Thank you, Dean. I now call upon Dr. Nick Brewer from the School of Life Sciences.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Master of Science with Honours, Bethany Laws. Ian Liddell. Hayley Shaw. Kirsty Hamilton. Małgorzata Pospiech. Catherine Arkwright. Jessica Barclay. Tegan Knott. Kirsty Campbell. Gavin Pierpoint. Emily Scott. For the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, Elmira Amidova. David Anderson. Phoebe Jenkins. Rosie Robertson. Zoe Boot Hanford. Zena Dodds. Ryan King. Gavin Tate. Amanda Fentor. Ross McKellar. Sophia Poliasis. Samuel Robinson. Jessie Wu. Sahira Ahmed Khan. Ailey Mackay. Alexa McCraw. Amna Shafiq. Mark Houghton. Dervla Black. Abigail Brewer. Jasmine Cheddar. Anna Fessler. Molly Hodgson. Samantha Lim. Farah Mohammed Zin. Lisa Robertson. Emily Skyter. Jack Taylor. Peter Young. Iram Ali. Sadiq Amin. Caitlin Barber. Monish Budrani. Ewan Campbell. Charlie Carroll. Emily Kavanagh. Simran Chopra. Amy Christie. William DeGoots. Sarah Ejidiran. Mark Forsyth. Jesla George. Amy Gilmore. Celine Hedimore. Louise Huggins. Eve Ireland. Kian Lim. Anthony McGuigan. Kessia McHarder. Ellis McIntosh. Beth Mollison. Jack Morris. Catherine Neal. Andrea Rundawa. Selea Raouf. Asif Sadiq. Hoi Tung Shum. David Singer. Claire Stewart. Manuel Tham. Upsura Thapa. Yao Yi Wang. Jonathan Blackburn. Mihail Flesher. Claire McNulty. Nicholas Gallagher. Chiara Menigaze. Marketa Novotna. Scott Sheldrick. Cameron Fraser. Emily Hamilton. Julia Hayu. Robert Hayes. Molly Hewitt. Ahmed Karim. Sushma Casey. Halimo Kolo. Caitlin McInnes. Beth McLeod. Kirsty McCaughey. Limar Muller. James Osborne. Yeeg Sun. Alana Tullock. Hannah Adams. Lamisha Bakar. Danielle Bruce. Cameron Harris. Sarah Lindsay. Shifonero Mataka. Heather Merchant. Graham Newton. Hanya Sindhu. Sri Telfer. Aidan Urquhart. Catriona Wallace. Annie Wright. Mehnaz Assad. Kristen Carnegie. Sophie Drysdale. Chloe Ferney. Kirsten Fowler. For the degree of Bachelor of Science, Callum Rigg. Kirsten Cranner. Joanne Hutchinson. Shannon Netto. Anna Sinclair.
I now call upon the Dean of the School of Life Sciences, Professor Julian Blow.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, Mikel Ariato Salgado. Serena Bloomley. Guilherme Castro. Max Coulter. Chris Earle. Elliot Erskine. Alexander Finney. Andrei Gorolik. Luke Hutchinson. Amy Learmonth. Giuseppina Mariano. Lucas Morales Moya. Jaya Prakash Natarajan. Daniel O'Brien. Deborah Pascali. Svetlana Petrova. Andrew Runcie. Maitili Shroff.
I now call upon the Principal.
Chancellor, I have the honour to invite you to confer their degrees in absence upon the candidates who have been unable to attend this ceremony.
By the authority of Senate, I confer those degrees.
right then, you've done it, you've graduated, you are now alumni and graduates of the University of Dundee, so I think it's now time for you to celebrate your graduation. Let's hear as much noise as you can make, and well done to all of you.
Pretty good, but the roof's still on. Thank you very much. I now call upon the Dean of the School of Education and Social Work, Professor Tim Kelly, again.
Chancellor, I have the honor to present for the Chancellor's Award for Outstanding Contribution to Teaching, Professor Teresa Moran. I happen to have it on good authority that in primary school, Professor Moran was quite a frequent visitor to the naughty step. Who knew that that little girl who just couldn't be quiet in primary school and got into so much trouble for distracting others would one day grow up to be so influential and receive this award for her outstanding contribution? And for Professor Moran's sake, I'm not going to go into everything that she's done, because she would hate that. She would much rather be behind the scenes working and making a difference in lives. But she's done a lot of amazing things for teacher education in the 20-plus years she's been at the University of Dundee. But it's just not that educational leadership within the university that is so outstanding. She is a very influential person in Scottish teacher education. And this wasn't an easy thing to become. She had to take on the big boys, and I say big boys on purpose, in the Central Belt to get her place at the table. She is now one of the go-to people when the Scottish government needs something done or needs some sensible advice. She's led and influenced numerous national initiatives. Now, we know that the barriers that women face as they climb their career ladders are real. There are many, many barriers. And as my previous comments suggest, Professor Moran certainly faced barriers herself. We know that a couple of factors that influence success for people from marginalized or oppressed groups is the presence of positive role models and having strong networks. Professor Moran is an important role model. She and a colleague also started the WISER Network, Women in Scottish Education and Research. I want to just tell a little story about this week that demonstrates her influence. She was responsible for bringing the former President of Ireland, Mary McAleese, to Dundee on Tuesday for an event at the V&A. And she pulled together a group of people from academia, local government, and national bodies. And as I sat in that audience and listened to the powerful presentations and discussions, I looked around the room and I saw the current and former heads of the General Teaching Council, the current head of the Community and Learning Development Standards Council, and at least 5 current or former deans of schools of education from across Scotland. There were also Scottish academics from numerous universities, from social work, community education, teacher education, from the humanities, from social sciences, partners from local authorities, civil servants, former students, and members of the public. I also noticed that she wasn't even sitting in the VIP section, I might add. And as I listened to the chat afterwards, I was struck by all the connections that people had with one another, and so many of those connections were mediated through Professor Moran. I was also struck by how many times I heard women at various stages of their careers mention the words WISER Network. The importance of Professor Moran as a role model and a creator of a network for women was palpable. Not only has she played a significant and prolonged impact on education at the university and beyond, but her influence on the educational careers of others will reverberate for generations. So on that note, Chancellor, I commend my dear friend and colleague, Professor Moran, for the Chancellor's Award for her outstanding contribution to teaching.
You've had a is indeed. So you will understand that Tessa Moran is a very noble recipient of the Chancellor's Award, and it gives me great pleasure to confer it upon her. Thank you. We now move to the award of an honorary degree, and I call upon Professor Miratul Mukic to present the honorary graduand for the degree of Doctor of Laws.
Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa, Dr. Samantha Budd Heberlein. Samantha is one of our own, an alumnus, who herself took the same walk as graduates gathered today to be capped and receive her degree from this university. Since then, her career trajectory has taken her to the global leadership in the search for a cure for the brain disorder Alzheimer's disease. Samantha was born and brought up on the south coast of England in Southampton. Her fascination with science began at the age of 11 when she first observed Brownian motion of particles under the microscope. At school, science remained her focus, so much so that at the time of sitting her A-levels, she chose to move to a different college from all of her friends. That was Richard Taunton College, which was highly regarded for its teaching of science, and this resulted in Samantha being the sole girl in her maths and physics classes for 2 years. At this time, Samantha was increasingly aware of the revolution occurring in genetics and molecular biology, and also its impact on society, such as the discovery of DNA fingerprinting by another Dundee honorary doctorate, Sir Alec Jeffreys, in 1984. Prior to starting her undergraduate studies in Dundee, Samantha had never been to Scotland, but it was the reputation of the university as a powerhouse in molecular biology and life sciences that drew her here. The breadth of courses and the lively lecturers, including that of former Principal Sir Pete Downes, provided her with a language and code, as well as a passion that continues to burn inside her. But it was the teaching of Professor David Nichols on the molecular basis of neurotransmission and bioenergetics of neurons that caught her imagination. After graduating with first-class honours in biochemistry in 1994, she decided to stay on in Dundee to undertake her PhD in David's lab. Her PhD years proved an exciting period for Samantha, where she was involved in using cutting-edge technologies, such as live cell imaging, to uncover fundamental insights into the function of brain cells in both healthy and diseased states. A major highlight during this time was overturning a long-held theory on the protective role of mitochondria in the regulation of calcium during states when neurons are stressed. This discovery was even more thrilling to Samantha when her findings were repeated by another independent laboratory. Samantha was also involved in a collaboration involving the application of scientific knowledge that gave her a taste of how science can be useful to wider society. So, armed with a clutch of papers from her PhD, Samantha then joined the laboratory of Stuart Lipton at Boston Children's Hospital and the Harvard Medical School, where she continued to study neuroscience mechanisms using biochemical approaches. And this environment also brought her closer with research-active physicians interested in applying molecular and cell biology to understanding human health and disease. She subsequently moved with the Lipton Lab to the Sanford Burnham Institute in San Diego, where she was elevated to an independent group leader position, and also began to experience fruitful collaborations and interactions with biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies in exploring therapeutic strategies for neurological diseases. The critical juncture in Samantha's career came in 2000, when she decided to leave the relative security of academia to join AstraZeneca in Sweden. This was a hugely brave decision at that time, since AstraZeneca had just formed from a merger and were seeking to build capacity in drug discovery of brain disorders. This is perhaps the most challenging area of pharma research and development due to the poor scientific understanding of this group of diseases. Compounding this risk were prevailing attitudes and prejudices about academics interacting with pharma. This is something that isn't shared in Dundee through our extensive industry links, such as the Division of Signal and Transduction and Therapy, which remains the longest continuous academic industry collaboration in the UK. On joining AstraZeneca, Samantha initially had a broad portfolio of disease areas, but over the years decided to focus on Alzheimer's disease. The World Health Organization estimates that approximately 50 million people are currently affected by Alzheimer's globally, and this figure is set to rise dramatically over the coming decades. In the UK alone, the number of patients affected by Alzheimer's is predicted to top the 1 million mark by 2025. Despite huge unmet need in this area, the disease remains incurable, with no treatments that can slow the disease process. The disease is due to a buildup of protein clumps known as amyloid plaques. Amyloid is generated by aberrant cleavage of its precursor protein by an enzyme known as beta-secretase cleaving enzyme, or BACE1. Over a decade at AstraZeneca, Samantha built up a translational science program in Alzheimer's, as well as building infrastructure and methods to monitor amyloid accumulation in the brain. The major highlight of this period was the successful development of a brain-penetrant small molecule inhibitor of BACE1, and taking this through phase 1 to phase 3 clinical trials. And this led to a major commercialization deal with Lilly. In 2015, Samantha joined Biogen, where she is currently Vice President of Late-Stage Clinical Development and responsible for the development of Biogen's Alzheimer's, dementia, and movement disorders portfolios. Currently, Samantha is leading multiple phase 3 clinical programs, each involving more than 1,000 patients across more than 40 countries. These are complex studies involving diverse teams of scientists and clinicians and statisticians, and represents the forefront of global efforts to find an effective therapy for Alzheimer's. In a climate in which many major pharma companies are stepping back or cutting back on investment in dementia drug development, Biogen and the work of Samantha's teams provide a beacon of hope for all patients affected by this debilitating disorder. Samantha is truly a pioneer of human medicine discovery, and her opinion is widely sought. She was elected a member of the World Dementia Council, established by David Cameron in the G8 in 2012, and she is an advisor to Bill Gates on his Alzheimer's 5-point plan. She has authored reports on Alzheimer's to the WHO and FDA in the United States, as well as a special issue for Time magazine. Her work has also been honored by receiving the 2017 Fierce Women in Biotech Award. In closing, I would like to acknowledge the support Samantha has received from her family throughout, and I'm delighted that her husband Marcus, who himself has followed a distinguished path in the pharmaceutical industry, and her 2 sons are here in the audience today. Chancellor, I have the honour to invite you to confer upon Samantha Budd Haberlein the degree of Doctor of Laws.
By the authority of Senate, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Laws. Many congratulations. It's brilliant. And will you talk briefly to the...
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Merkwit, officers of the University of Dundee, thank you for this incredible honour, which I am proud, supremely proud to accept. Graduates of the University of Dundee and families, thank you so much for having me to join in your ceremony today, and congratulations on your well-earned degrees. I have to say, it feels a bit like a time machine picked me up this morning. It was 25 years ago, almost to the day, that I was sitting somewhere here in the audience, sitting as you are today, hopeful, proud to be a graduate of the University of Dundee. At that time, in 1994, when I graduated, the genetics of disease was unraveling at a major pace. Here in the University of Dundee and at other institutions, we were learning about how mutations in genes were the underlying basis of disease. And for me, this was just a tremendously exciting time. As you have heard, I stayed on at Dundee to do a PhD. I did investigate other universities up and down the UK, but there was nowhere at that time that had such a breadth, depth, and quality of exciting research as the University of Dundee. And it remains a North Star for the life sciences today in the UK. I continued my investigations into the basis of disease with a postdoc across in the US, but there became a point in time for me when learning about disease, investigating disease was no longer enough. I wanted to do something about it. I wanted to do something about the terrible neurological disorders that afflict more than 14 million individuals in the UK. I wanted to turn those understandings of disease into treatments for people. And so for me, that path took me into industry, as you have heard, and I've spent almost 20 years in the investigation, the discovery and development of novel therapeutics for terrible and terrifying neurological disorders. One of the things I encountered in industry, which was different from my experience in academia, was the vast array of disciplines that it takes to develop a new medicine for any therapeutic area. There are pharmacologists, clinicians, pharmacokineticists, chemists, regulatory scientists, statisticians. I could go on. And it was a thrill to me then, as it is today, how putting together these pieces is necessary to develop a new therapeutic. If science is the basis of new medicine, then people and collaboration are the basis of succeeding at bringing forward a new medicine. Today, 25 years forward, we are in a new era of medicine, a very exciting era where the first medicines that actually address the genetics, the underlying basis of disease by changing the message or the protein produced by a gene in monogenic disorders has gone through clinical trials and is now available as a therapeutic. One such program comes from the company that I'm extremely proud to work for, where the augmentation of the SMN protein in babies born with a genetic defect leading to spinal muscular atrophy is literally saving the lives of these babies. I couldn't be more proud to be part of that. I couldn't be more proud to be a graduate of the University of Dundee, because my education is the basis of what I do every day. But you already know that. As you sit here and you embark upon the next phase of your career, you may be wondering, you may be worried, what happens next? Well, you have a multitude of options. You may choose, or it may choose you. You've already made an excellent choice in being a graduate of the University of Dundee, which is exemplar of the fact that you are filled with the superpower of education. Choose wisely. If I can offer anything in regards to what leads to a fulfilling and satisfying life, I would suggest choose to use your education for good. But don't forget to smell the roses. Don't forget to enjoy life. The good days, the bad days, each and every one of them. Good luck to you.
We're fortunate to have a magnificent choir, which was singing for us at the beginning, and will be the last item on this ceremony's agenda. They choose their pieces very carefully. This one is selected with the life scientists in mind. all about that bass.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no proteins. I'm all about that bass, no membranes. I'm all about that bass, no lipids. I'm all about that bass, bass. Yeah, it's pretty clear. I work in bass 3. The third can wobble, but still it's clear to me. 'Cause I got that charge that all proteins chase, and all the right grooves in all the right places. I see the helicase, woo-hoo, working its blinding sight, woo-hoo. We know that SNP, it won't be folding right. If you've got function, just let them see, 'cause every angstrom is dynamic from the 5' to the 3. Yeah, my structure is folding in helix with twist and ride. Wop, wop, chow, wop, wop. It's the best way to keep the whole genome wound up inside. Histones. You know I won't be no stick model, Watson creaking before. Wop, wop, chow, wop, wop. So if that's what you're into, then boy, you've got lots to learn. Because you know I'm all about that bass, no proteins. I'm all about that bass, no membranes. I'm all about that bass, no lipids. I'm all about that bass, I'm bringing Franklin back. Ooh, go ahead and tell those Nobel winners that. No, I'm just playing. I know you think they're right, but I'm here to tell you every angstrom is dynamic from the 5' to the 3. Yeah, my structure is folding in helix with twist and ride. Wop, wop, chow, wop, wop. It's the best way to keep the whole genome wound up inside. Histones. You know I won't be no stick model, Watson creaking before. Wop, wop, chow, wop, wop. So if that's what you're into, then boy, you've got lots to learn. Because you know I'm all about that bass, no sugars. I'm all about that bass, no hormones. I'm all about that bass, no omics. I'm all about that bass, because you know I'm all about that bass, no we are. I'm all about that bass, no chaperones. I'm all about that bass, no enzymes. I'm all about that bass, bass.
Thank you to the choir and, shall we say, the recomposer of that song. Wonderful. We're coming now to the close of the ceremony. All good things do come to an end, I'm afraid. And I ask you now, please all, to be standing for the procession out. Good, it's got there.